everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, and we've got our wonderful guest here with us today. Her name is Phebe Trotman. Hi, Phebe. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Shola. Thanks so much for having me on today. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you for joining me. Oh my God, Phebe, she is an entrepreneur and she also plays soccer. Oh my God. I need my son to actually listen to this because he plays football.
Great sport.
Okay, so Phoebe, I'll leave it to you to introduce yourself properly for our audience to know much more about you before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm based out of Vancouver, Canada. As you mentioned, Shola, an athlete. So I've played soccer since I was about 5 years old, continued to play right through. I've had the opportunity to win national championships on pretty much all levels that I've played at, which is university as well as professional, and then club as well too. And then I am an entrepreneur as well. So I started an online business, did very well with that, working with an incredible team of people. And most recently, I have released a book series, the second book in a book series called Never Quit on a Bad Day, Inspiring Stories of Resilience.
Oh my God, when you talk about series, so how many do you have in total?
So far in the book series, two. So the first one was released last year in 2023, and then the second book in the series just was released a couple of weeks ago now.
Where do you get all the time?
You know what? It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I think we can make time, right? We all have 24 hours in a day. We just get to choose what we do with that time.
You're right. You're right. So, as you said, you are an athlete and you play soccer. Can you actually share a moment, especially a significant one that shaped your journey?
Absolutely. And it's funny, I actually share it in the book, the one that just came out. I share this moment because, when you look back on it, it was such a pivotal moment. And so, I had a few friends on my club team and they encouraged me to try out. A bunch of us were going to go for this tryout
Yeah.
for a provincial team. And I didn't really know what that meant. I just went for it because I wanted to play more soccer. Anyways, I'll give you the short version. The full version's in the book, but essentially the coach who was overseeing our group asked me what position I play, and I said forward or striker.
Right.
He thought I looked like a defender, so he put me at defense. We
Oh.
played this tournament. I did okay. I wouldn't say I did phenomenal, but I did okay. And essentially, I want the listeners kind of imagine they bring us all in. There's about 50 of us there kind of standing around, and another coach who was going to be the head coach of the team has a list of all the players that were moving forward to the next round. And so he calls out the names of the players moving forward to the next round, and he didn't say my name.
Mhm.
And I kind of paused there because I was fully expecting, I was like, oh, he must have made a mistake. Of course I made the team. And then he continued on to say all the players whose names he didn't call can leave because they wanted to discuss the next steps. And that's when it hit me that I didn't make that team, and I was devastated. And I remember being embarrassed, and I walked to the car. I told my dad, he was waiting for me in the car, what happened, and I just started crying, and I was crying and crying and crying and crying. And again, I'll give you the short version, but essentially my parents, a few weeks of the crying kind of sat me down and said, okay, what do you want to do next? Because the decision has been made. The coach's decision is done. There's nothing we can do about that. What you can do is choose how you respond to the situation. What do you want to do? Do you want to let one coach's decision determine your career in soccer? Or do you want to quit? Or what do you want to do? And it was tough to hear those words, but it really did shape my vision for soccer because it helped me realize that I could control what I did next in terms of my work ethic, my attitude, my focus. And that's when I made a decision that I wanted to be an impact player in whatever team I was on, that I would make my presence known, felt, and seen. And so that's what I ended up doing, and have had an incredible soccer career since.
Wow, that is so cool. So what position are you
I
on?
play up front. I play up front. Yeah, I play up forward.
Okay. Wow. Right. Can you tell us what team you play for?
Yeah, so right now I play, it's got like an over 30s team, a club team, but I've played kind of all levels from youth. I did go to university and played university. I went down to Colorado and played a season with a professional team down there. And then I came back to Vancouver and played, I think it's 5 or 6 play seasons with the Vancouver Whitecaps, and then just continue to play club as well. So
Yeah.
I do still play. It's just something I do. I love it.
Great. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Now let's talk about your book because from soccer, right? You've gone all the way to start writing a book. So now you're an author and you've actually written 2 series. And you said it's a series, right? So which means after the second series, there's going to be another one. There's going to be another one.
There is. So the book series itself is called Never Quit on a Bad Day, Inspiring Stories of Resilience. And so far, as I mentioned, there's 2 books written in that series. So the first one last year and the second one just came out. And it's been an interesting journey, because I've also had from the soccer world, also being an entrepreneur and building a business, I'd had it on my heart for several years. I wanted to create something that would combine kind of the lessons that I've learned as an athlete, as well as the lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur and just life lessons in general, and create something. I didn't know what that was going to be. And some friends of mine are the ones who actually encouraged me to write a book. And I was like, I don't know, all of a sudden I was like, a book, I'm not sure. Although I love to read, I absolutely love to read. And it was when they kind of flipped it on me and said, the writing a book isn't about me, it's about the people it can help. And that was really what the call on my heart was, to help more people. And so that's when I decided to write a book. Initially, it was just going to be one. And then as I started putting pen to paper, I realized that it's more than just one book. It's going to be a series. And so, as I said, the first one, and now in book number 2, and it's been a lot of fun, and the response has been incredible from people who have read the book. And so that just makes my heart smile that people are getting value from it and they're able to apply the lessons from the book in their own life.
That is interesting though, because I would like to know how you chose your stories in the books.
Yes. So what I did is I really wanted to create a book that shared stories from different perspectives. So
Right.
it's actually a compilation of short stories, and I chose people who have had an influence on me, who've done the first book features stories from thriving entrepreneurs. So I reached out to people in my world who have been mentors to myself, who I knew of, who have, friends of friends, if you will, and have
Yeah.
created a lot of success in whether it's the online space or real estate investing. And
Yeah.
so then I reached out to them to ask them. The second book features short stories from incredibly decorated athletes. And
Right.
same thing there. It was either people who I've known, who I've looked up to, who are friends of other people that I know who were open to sharing a story. And they were just so gracious and kind to be willing to share one of their stories of their never quit on a bad day moment.
Right. Oh my God. You've been so busy, I can tell. Well, that brings me to the next one, which is you as an entrepreneur. So, as an entrepreneur and an athlete, what parallels do you see between success in both sports and success in business? Because
Yeah,
they
there's
are 2 different worlds, sports and business, but then you kind of merge them together and you're successful in both.
Yeah, there's a lot of life lessons and parallels between athletics and business, and really just success in life as a whole, in the sense that you learn a lot as an athlete in terms of accountability. I mean, that is a big one there, because at the end of the day, you're accountable to yourself, your coaches, your teammates, if you're in a team sport. So that's a big one. Discipline, right? Being able to be disciplined and commit to something, to set a goal and to commit to it, and the activities that you need to do, even the ones you don't want to do, that
Right.
you commit to doing to create the result that you're looking to create. And so, and being able to bounce back, resilience, I mean, is a huge one, because in athletics, I just shared the one story of, not making that team. And that's, that was a pivotal moment, but there's been many pivotal moments over my career as an athlete where I had to bounce back. I faced a disappointment, whether it was a loss, whether it was an injury, whether it was, not getting as much playing time as I would want. How do you navigate through that working with people when you're on a team sport. You have a lot of people you're working with, your fellow athletes, as well as your coaches, your trainers, like, and working together with other people when you have other different personalities, right? How do you navigate through that? How do you navigate through conflict? Whether it's conflict with a coach,
Yeah.
conflict with a teammate, how do you work through that? And so there's just so many parallels in terms of sports. And I truly believe sports sets you up for success in life, whether you're a high level athlete, whether you just participate in sport. There's so many incredible life lessons that you'll learn that will set people up for success in whether they choose to go the business route, whether it's a career in terms of the workforce, if you will, marketplace, and just life in general.
Wow. So, how do you incorporate the lessons of resilience and personal growth from your athlete's experience into your daily life and your entrepreneurial venture?
Yeah, well, now it's just part of what you do. And I mean, we still struggle through it, right? As an athlete, you I mean, I think in general, as human beings, we want certain things right away, right? Where it's like, well, I want it now. And it
Yeah.
doesn't work that way, right? There is a time, there's a process to everything. And so learning how to navigate through that as an athlete, all the training that you do behind the scenes is what comes to light when you're on the field performing in a game. And it's the same thing, as an entrepreneur and being
Yeah.
able to navigate through that. And there are times where right now, even certain things that I want to happen faster than they are. And I have to remind myself that there's a season for everything, there's time. And so the lessons that I've learned over the years has allowed me to reflect back on those so that I can move forward and so that I have that patience in terms of the time, but also more importantly, the discipline and the commitment to consistently do the activities that I know will generate the results that I'm looking for.
Right. Okay. That is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to your book. So I know it is titled Never Quit on a Bad Day. Where can we purchase this book if we want to?
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon and other online book retailers, as well as if you visit my website, neverquitonabadday.com, it'll link you to the online retailers, as well as you can get a free chapter from the first book if you when you visit the website as well, too.
Okay, can we see the book again?
Absolutely. This is the most recent one.
Ah, okay, never. I love the graphic. I love the cover.
Thank you. Thank you. We worked very hard on this cover. We definitely took some time with it.
Oh my God, how can people reach you on social media?
Yeah, so very easy. Again, it's Never Quit on a Bad Day. So I'm available on Instagram as well as Facebook, Never Quit on a Bad Day. And I just love to connect with people and hear how their stories and what they're working through to go through to get to what they're looking to achieve in life and their goals and dreams too.
Ah, great, very easy. So it's never quit on most of the social media platforms and your website. So that's very easy to remember. And it will be in the
Yes, Never Quit on a Bad Day. It's the full thing. Never Quit on a Bad Day. Mhm.
okay. Have you got any advice for someone who is facing a significant challenge, who feels like giving up on their goals?
Oh, I got a lot. There's a lot of lessons in those books, in the two books. What I would say, if we're going to simplify it, number one is refocus on why are you doing what you're doing, whatever that is, right? Because that's important to really dig deep and to reflect on what is your purpose behind these goals and dreams that you're going after, and
Mhm.
really sit with that. Because and then the second thing I would say to do is, well, there's a few things. So one of the other ones is, who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah.
Because there are going to be bumps in the road. That's part of life. When we want certain things, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be those frustrating moments where you do want to quit.
Mhm.
Who are you reaching out to in those moments? I talk about that in the first book in terms of, when you're going through a personal challenge, it might be a little bit different. Than the person you might reach out to might be different than when you're going through a professional challenge. And
Yeah.
that's okay. So if you're going after a certain goal, and it's, let's say, professionally, reach out to someone who is in the professional kind of mentorship, if you will, because they have a different response. They've been through it as well, right? So it's really important to do that, and then just be grateful for the journey, right? Look at what you've gone through, what you've grown through, the person you are right now, and celebrate that, knowing that there are bumps in the road and everybody goes through those challenges and setbacks. It's what you do next. It's in that moment when you are struggling and you're challenging and you're feeling like you want to quit. That's the moment to push through it, because that's where you'll gain more confidence when you get to the other side of it. That it'll shift, and so you just have to keep pushing through, keep going forward.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that piece of advice. Having said that, how do you continue then to stay motivated and maintain your drive for personal growth? Because it is difficult. Because there will be days that you're down, days that you feel like it, days that you don't. But how do you feel motivated? Because it seems that you're always motivated.
Well, I think it's a choice. It's definitely a choice, and it's a commitment, right? Going back to being disciplined, it's something that I realize that is important for my growth, to continually learn and grow and be surrounded. And everything that I talk about in both books are things that I do on a daily basis, in the sense of it's a choice. We all have choices. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's what do we do with that time? And so I'm very determined and driven. I have, something I've created called my dream day, which I know what, and just for the listeners and watchers, what it is basically it's taking some time, giving the really short version, but to write out your dream day. And what does that look like? Who are you with? What does your business look like? How do you feel? And you write it all in the present tense. And it's super
You
important to get in the
every day
feeling.
in the morning.
Just no, sorry. This is an activity that I encourage people to do. So I've done it multiple times, and I have this dream day that I've written out. And
Mhm.
so that inspires me to keep moving forward, because I know what I'm working towards. And that's one thing that's really important, is setting goals. Like, have something that you're working towards, because that will encourage you to continue to do the learning and the growth that you need to do. Be disciplined to work towards that goal. So I have goals and dreams that I'm working towards, and that pulls me forward, especially even in those tough times, because I reflect on that dream day that I wrote. And so even when I'm going through those tough times, I think about that and I'm like, okay, this is going to get me closer to what I'm working towards, move
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. I haven't said that.
Oh,
Let's
it's a great activity to do. Highly recommend it.
now let's talk about gratitude. How does gratitude play in your approach to overcoming obstacles? Because to be honest, when you're challenged, sometimes gratitude just doesn't come into play. You're just focusing on the challenge at that time, and you just think you don't have anything to thank anything for. So how does that
Mm.
come into play for you?
Yeah, and this was a lesson that I learned in my business career, if you will, because I remember being at a moment I was so frustrated with my business. It wasn't growing fast enough. I was doing the activities that would generate the results. However, it was still taking time. And it was just like this moment where I was like, because I was actually away at the time. And I remember I was sitting at the airport, and I just kind of thought of all the things that have happened on the positive since I said yes to building this business. And I started making this list. And, I shared in a training, I thought kind of tied it to, if you were looking for a pot of gold, that's whatever that goal is for you. But let's say it's this pot of gold, and you're digging along the way, and then you see, let's say a diamond, some other sort of gem or a ruby or whatever, you wouldn't just leave it there. You'd pick it up and then keep going. And it kind of made me realize, in terms of my business, I was so focused on that pot of gold that I was missing all these incredible moments and things I could be grateful for while I continued to work towards that. And so, how I stay grateful and find things to be grateful for along the journey of whatever, when I'm working towards a goal, in this case, say a pot of gold, I look for other things to be grateful for. And it doesn't take away from the fact I'm still working towards that pot of gold. It doesn't take away fully that I'm frustrated because things aren't happening fast enough, but it allows me to shift my perspective for that moment when I'm just like, you know what? Like in that case, when I was frustrated, I was out of town on a trip for my business. And I just was like, huh, if
Hmm.
I didn't say yes to this business, I wouldn't be at this trip. and I wouldn't have met this person or that person, and I wouldn't have done this and all these things that I could be grateful for. And so that's just something now that's ingrained in me, where even when I'm frustrated, even when my goals aren't happening as quickly as I would want them to, I
Yeah.
shift my focus and I go, okay, well, what can I be grateful for? Because there is always something to be grateful for. Even if you're in a tough situation here, pick something to be grateful for over here, right? It doesn't have to be I'm grateful for what I'm going through right now in this moment, but there's something else I can be grateful for in my life. It could be just having a great friend that I can reach out to. So there is always something you can be grateful for. It may not be what is that situation, but there is always something. And the moment you start shifting that, and you'll get faster at it and faster at it and faster at it, it's easier to work through some of those other challenging moments too.
Wow, it's true. There's always something to be grateful for, even if it's just that we are alive. The joy of being alive alone is
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is cool. Wow, wow. Have you got any future projects that you're excited about and you like to share with us before we go?
Oh, lots of exciting projects. I mean, lots of speaking coming up, different events that I'll be at, doing some book signings, and just really, getting out there with this latest book. The feedback's been incredible. So just willing to help and share and see how I can inspire other people along their journey. And of course, there will be a third book at some point. So I'll get started working on that probably later this year.
Oh my God. Oh my God. How do you plan to continue to inspire others then?
I think inspiring people, part of it's how we live our life. I do believe we all of us, all the listeners, we can all inspire people in our network. And part of that is by when we start living in our greatness, when we start following our goals and dreams, it allows other people to realize that they can do it too. And so to continue to inspire people, one, it's by continue from personally for me to continue to pursue my own goals and dreams, because that does inspire other people. And then continuing to help out, whether it's speaking at events, workshops, podcasts, trainings, different things like that, where I can share some of the life lessons that I've learned that other people can apply to their own life to help them as well along their own journey.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today. And that brings us to the end of today. Oh my goodness. Is there any other thing you'd like to add or advise or inspire people with?
One thing I'm going to throw out there, Shola, is one thing that I did do very early on as well in my journey. It was I set an event in my phone. So basically, I took my calendar, I set an event, and
Yeah.
it's my gratitude event, if you will. And so every single day, and I still have it. I still have it to this day. And I set this like years ago. Every single day at 9:10 p.m. Pacific, an event pops up and it just says, I'm so happy and grateful that. And the reason I do that is because when I wasn't feeling so grateful, it forced me to just take a moment. Sometimes it'll be 1 minute, sometimes it'll be 10 minutes to
Mhm.
really be intentional about being grateful for whatever it is I feel. So I
Yeah.
want to encourage everybody listening and watching to do that. Pick a time of day that works best for you when most of the time you'll be, in a place where you feel like you could have that moment, and
Yeah.
set an event for yourself and just use that. I'm so happy and grateful that, and stay true to that. And when that event comes up, take a moment wherever you are, whether it's 10 seconds, whether it's a little bit longer, whatever the time you have, to just take a moment to be intentional with your gratitude. And again, watch what happens in your life.
It's true. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is very true, you know. I think I will start practicing that. So it's just about choosing a day, a time in a day and just be grateful. That's it.
Absolutely. But it's setting the event, because we can always, some people, it can be like, wake up and say you're grateful for things, or go to bed and say you're grateful for things. And I do that as well too. However, this made me actually stop in my day, whatever I'm doing in that moment. And sometimes I might be in the car driving and it pops up. And obviously then it's just in my head as I'm continuing to drive along, I'm thinking about it. Sometimes I might be at home and it pops up and I might close my eyes and think of what I'm grateful for. But it just allows me to be very intentional in that time of what am I grateful for. And it just, again, because it pops up every single day at 9:10 p.m., it just makes me pause. I see it and I'm like, what am I grateful for? So I encourage people to do that and pick whatever time of day works best for you. It might be in the afternoon, it might be later in the morning, whatever time works best for you. But I challenge you to do it, Shola, as well as your listeners. And then I want to hear how it shifts in your life as well.
Okay, I'll let you know how I get on with that. I think it's more to do with being disciplined. I mean, if we're disciplined, then we will be able to consistently do that. So what's going to happen with a lot of people is that they will start and then stop because of their inconsistency. And I think that can happen to me as well. So I'll try.
You got it. You got it.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Phoebe, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And until next time, it's Shola and Phoebe on Mission to Inspire. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.